Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Welcome to the YaCast episode 4. What's up, Slate?
So, dude, Kid Rock is back in the news, man. And is it just another case of hypocrisy, or is he going woke? Plus, we'll talk about a very bad man who got stabbed in jail. Someone who you're not going to care about. You're actually going to like this story. Also, Threads, man. Is Musk worried? 100 million downloads. And Sound of Freedom, dude. Crushing box office expectations. We'll get into that. What do you got?
Yeah, that Sound of Freedom story is crazy. I've also got information on Trump at UFC 290, and a lot of people are mad. We've also got the Biden administration ready to drop cluster bombs over in Ukraine, which previously they said was a war crime. We'll see what's going on there.
Come on, man.
So, Charlesy's sort of like in the last video where I said it's all about the money when Anheuser-Busch CEO didn't really respond to Dylan Mulvaney, whether they'd use her again for another promotional thing. Money always wins is the headline. Netizens react as Kid Rock sells Bud Light at his Nashville bar after blowing up beer cans in a viral video.
Uh-oh.
All right, we all remember this.
Grandpa's feeling a little frisky today. Let me say something to all you and be as clear and concise as possible.
Now, me personally, I didn't love that video because it's kind of super violent, but I get it. People don't want the politicization of social issues on their beer can. I understand. That video got 52 million views and it worked. People boycotted Bud Light. But the hypocrisy sort of runs deep here. So I don't know if Kid Rock sort of had a change of heart or he just wants to make some cha-ching. Rock's cry for a boycott. Patrons of his Nashville-based bar are discovering that the 52-year-old may be talking the talk, but not walking the walk. That's right. As you see here, Kid Rock's big honky-tonk rock and roll steakhouse under the domestic beers menu item, Budweiser, Bud Light Lime, Busch Light, Coors Light, and Coors Light, and it goes on and on. So what do you think, man? Change of heart, or he just wants to get that do-re-mi?
I've got a couple questions. So is this a current article? Is this a current photo?
Yeah, so this was taken from July 6th.
So I think Kid has some explaining to do. Has he offered any type of explanation about this?
He could not be reached for comments at this time, is what I read, yeah.
Okay, and where's the story from? Which news organization?
This particular post is coming from the New York Post, this photo.
Okay, interesting. Kid Rock, I think you have some explaining to do. Apparently, Trump did a surprise visit at UFC 290, and boy, has it made people on the left mad. First of all, let's take a look. Now, this is how a boss, this is how a man who is respected by his peers, respected by the warrior class, this is the kind of reaction he gets when he enters an arena. Let's take a look. Little Kid Rock in the background. Listen to that crowd, man. We got Dana White, UFC president. So obviously huge reception. I mean, if we didn't know better, Trump would be fighting tonight. That's the kind of reaction a fighter gets.
Totally, man. As Bill Maher says, like, you don't have to like Trump, but you can't hate everybody who does. You just don't see Joe Biden getting this type of reaction anywhere.
Correct, like never. I've never seen him receive anywhere near this type of enthusiasm, especially from real men. There's more video. Let's take a look at this. This is when Trump meets Rogan. You know, originally Rogan had said some things like he didn't want to help Trump get elected again, but that was kind of the past. I don't know. You take a look at this and tell me, I don't know, do you think something's gonna happen soon between these two? I don't know. What do you think they were saying there?
I don't know, man. But so Rogan refuses to sort of have Trump on, or he just doesn't want to be like that divisive? What's going on there?
In the past, he said something along the lines of like he didn't know if he wanted to get Trump elected, because I'm pretty sure he was kind of implying that if he has Trump on his show, it will get Trump elected because it'll make Trump seem very friendly, which he is. But since Rogan's moved to Texas and he's experienced true freedom and, has escaped the prison of California, I think he's come to realize a lot of things, a lot of what works in the country, what doesn't. And I don't know, that looked like a very warm reception. I'm maybe a little wishful thinking here, but I kind of thought maybe they're making a plan. It's like, me on the cast soon? Yeah, give me a call.
Yeah, it could be entirely true that Rogan was just sort of being respectful too. So we don't actually know what went down, but I'm sure we'll find out soon, man.
So this is a video of one of the fighters. I'm not going to try to pronounce his name because it's quite difficult. But after winning his match, what is the first thing this guy wants to do? Let's take a look. These people, these men, these warriors, these gladiators, there's one president they respect more than any other. Your thoughts?
All right, dude, let's not forget this dude's a draft dodger, okay? He's not in the military, you know what I mean? He's a flawed guy, I'd rather see someone like Vivek in there or like RFK or something, you know what I mean? But, listen, I get it. Like I said before, dude, this dude has a massive reception, man. I understand.
I like Vivek too, and, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Let's go over into the music world and see what our friend Jack White has to say. Jack White, formerly of the White Stripes, had a little meltdown on Instagram. He says, anybody who normalizes or treats this disgusting fascist, racist con man, disgusting piece of ish, Trump, with any level of respect is also disgusting in my book. That's you, Joe Rogan, you, Mel Gibson, you, Mark Wahlberg, you, Guy Fieri. This is a statement from me, not a discussion debate. Jack White III.
Yeah, my comment is you can feel however you want, and that's the great thing about this country, and there's an American flag out there, and if that's how you feel, that's great.
Slade, I've got one more clip. Actually, not a clip, just a shot. So here's Trump having the audacity to shake Guy Fieri's hand and say hi. Oh my God. And look at this guy, Bill Madden. Have you heard of this guy, Bill Madden, before?
I have not.
Apparently, he's like some type of music artist. He says Anthony Bourdain couldn't stand Guy Fieri. Now y'all know why. He likes Trump too. It's so ridiculous. And of course, let's look at Bill Madden. In his name, pronouns, emoji, Ukraine flag. Bill Madden is the type of guy who likes Biden. Guy Fieri, Mel Gibson, Dana White are the type of guys who like Trump. It's really that simple. I'm not going to be diplomatic about it.
Is there, I know some of the audiences is Biden guys, but even myself, I'm not a Trump voter. I just voted for Biden because I didn't want Trump. I don't think anyone really wanted Joe Biden to become president.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But you're not on Twitter, standing for Joe Biden and out there getting your rage out about Trump and condemning other people because they have the audacity to have a handshake, have a smile with our former president. Half
Correct.
The country voted for this guy.
Correct. I'd rather just sort of, shake hands and be neighborly and sort of try to get along with my fellow countrymen.
Good for you, man. That's why you're my friend.
Yeah. That's why you're my friend.
Slade, I know you saw this over 4th of July weekend. There was a small indie film that absolutely crushed the new Indiana Jones film, Dial of Destiny.
Yeah, I'm just sort of finding out about this movie right now, man. It's called Sound of Freedom. What is this about?
The 4th of July premiere of Sound of Freedom, a crowdfunded film based on the true story of former federal agent Tim Ballard and his quest to rescue children from human trafficking. The film stars Jim Caviezel. I'm probably saying that wrong.
Caviezel. He did Passion of the Christ.
Yeah. It's a action-packed film. The budget was only $15 million compared to Disney's $295 million budget for its flailing Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. So we've got $15 million versus $295 million. On opening day, Sound of Freedom debuted in only 2,600 theaters, which was 2,000 less than Indiana Jones, and nearly recouped its entire budget, raking in more than $14 million. The Dial of Destiny only made $11 million on its opening day. Now, I know you've got some updated numbers that are more recent than that.
Yeah, man, as you were just saying, Indiana Jones had the total advantage, but Sound of Freedom coming through with $40 million on opening weekend. Incredible. Now listen, I have 2 children. I understand the worries of a parent. Now, who would not want to like sort of allow a movie that has something to do with bringing awareness of human trafficking to light? Like, I don't see a downside here. There's no profit to be made. Check Rolling Stone. What's up with this headline? Sound of Freedom is a superhero movie for dads with brainworms. The QAnon-tinged thriller about child trafficking is designed to appeal to the conscience of a conspiracy-addled boomer. Like, what do you mean? What's up with that?
You know, it seems like they do this every time a small indie film that has any type of sort of perception that it's right or conservative or Christian or any of the above. In this case, because it protects children, and I'm sure there's a subconscious, they're filing that in with the people who are like, just leave the children alone in relation to the alphabet community and all that controversy. I think that's probably the tie-in here and why they're attacking this, because this is all about like protecting children, and I think they view protecting children as something undesirable. Like, they don't want children protected from certain things. I know that sounds crazy to say.
Yeah, I don't understand, man. I didn't even think of that, what you just said, actually. And Rolling Stone continues here, and it says, Sound of Freedom lives up to that anticipation. It's a stomach-turning experience, yada, yada, yada. At times, I had the uncomfortable sense I might be arrested for just sitting in the theater.
You know, this is very interesting. Here's what Rolling Stone thought about Cuties. Remember that controversial little situation?
Yes, I do.
Thanks to a major marketing mistake, the award-winning French movie Cuties was accused of sexualizing young girls. It's actually a sensitive portrait of growing pains that deserves to be seen. Rolling Stone excuses that, but Sound of Freedom? Oh, totally over the line. I think we can kind of see, any normal person can see, that this movie, Sound of Freedom, is trying to expose a big problem, and Cuties was just exploitation. By the way, Slate, Rolling Stone's not the only one who did these stupid headlines about Sound of Freedom. Here's the Washington Post. Sound of Freedom, the low-budget film about child sex trafficking, almost topped the box office, but its star, Jim, how do you spell his name? Caviezel, but its star, Jim Caviezel, has linked it to the QAnon movement. Again, I don't know what they're talking about with this QAnon stuff, but let's see what the Washington Post thought about Cuties. The Washington Post, perspective. Cuties is an unflinching look at what it means to be a preteen girl. No wonder people can't handle it. Again, they excuse the thing that actually exploits children, going after the thing that tries to protect children.
So listen, I know Mel Gibson's got a flawed past, and I'm constantly disclaiming, no, I don't agree with everything he says. But listen, I absolutely agree with Mel Gibson has to say about this as he implores you to watch The Sound of Freedom in this viral clip. Check it out.
One of the most disturbing problems in our world today is human trafficking, and particularly the trafficking of children. Our future is our children. Now, the first step in eradicating this crime is awareness. Go see Sound of Freedom. One of the most...
I mean, enough said, bro.
Yeah, and it's also interesting how everyone likes to vilify Mel Gibson, but time and time again, he's coming out unsolicited with things like this, where he just thinks this is a great movie. He's not involved with it at all, but he just thinks it's a movie everybody needs to see. So he just put up this clip and it went pretty viral.
You know, of course, he and Jim Caviezel have a history. You know, he directed Passion of the Christ, but yeah, no, totally, I'm with you, man.
Let's take a look back, because it seems like Democrats, Hollywood, et cetera, are always the ones attacking these type of small indie films that are more successful than their mega blockbusters. Let's remind ourselves exactly who our president is and see why maybe they don't want to protect the children.
You're gonna stand right next to me. There you go. And then we're gonna have...
There you go.
Got it? Okay.
Okay, and the people in the back, if you can spread out a little bit. Oh, perfect.
You're both in the front row. Do you remember what I told you?
Smile.
No, not smile. No date till you're 30. All right. Hey, Angel, how old are you? 12. You're 12. What's your name? How are you?
I'm fine.
The problem is, you know, you guys, you got a hard time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? All right, sister. I like kids better than people.
Yeah. Can you get some over here? Sure. Okay.
grandpa's one of the good guys.
That's nice of you to say.
No, I'm not saying it. He knows it. Do you know what my dad used to say? Your granddaughters have one important job.
God, man, there's nothing more disturbing than seeing an uncomfortable look on a child's face, man. It's just awful.
Imagine if Trump caressed and touched little girls like our president does, Joe Biden.
Yeah, dude, I understand, man.
I learned about kids jumping on my lap, and I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
All right, man, I think we all remember this derp. I don't think anyone's mad about this. Check this out.
We're following breaking news. Former doctor and convicted sexual predator Larry Nassar has been stabbed several times in federal prison. It apparently happened during an altercation overnight. Now, we don't know the extent of his injuries at this time. Nassar was convicted of state and federal charges for sexually assaulting members of the USA gymnastics team. He's serving his sentences, which total hundreds of years, at a prison in Florida.
Do you remember seeing the testimony of these young athletes saying what this man did to them? Beyond disturbing, bro.
Yeah, I saw a few clips. Absolutely terrible stuff.
So in the ABC News video we just played, they weren't really sure of the extent of the injuries, but it says here that Nassar was stabbed 6 times in the back and the neck on Sunday afternoon, according to a source. He has what one source described as substantial injuries, including what appears to be a collapsed lung.
One thing about prison culture, man, they do not like people who do bad things to children.
Correct. I don't think anyone cares about this dude. Bah.
Justice reigns from above.
This next story is disturbing and just another example of the huge hypocrisy in our current administration. The U.S. is sending cluster bombs to Ukraine despite humanitarian warnings. The United States is supplying cluster munitions to Ukraine to help defend its territory against Russia, despite concerns from human rights groups that the deployment of such weapons endangers civilians. Cluster bombs release a large number of bomblets over a wide area, and they can continue to pose a deadly risk long after the fighting has ended, years and years and years. More than 100 countries ban such weapons because unexploded bomblets can be picked up by civilians, causing injury or death. That includes a lot of children who find bombs and start playing with them and blow themselves up. As many as 40% of bomblets fail to detonate on impact, per one estimate. More than 120 countries have agreed to a 2008 United Nations treaty banning their use. However, the US, Russia, and Ukraine are not among those. Let's go back in time, all the way back to last year, and hear what our White House press secretary has to say on the issue of using cluster bombs.
There are reports of illegal cluster bombs and vacuum bombs being used by the Russians. If that's true, what is the next step of this administration, and is there a red line for how much violence will be tolerated against civilians in this manner that's illegal and potentially a war crime?
It would be. I don't have any confirmation of that.
Did we hear that? Let's just go back a little bit. Is using a cluster bomb a war crime? What did you say, Jen Psaki?
Potentially a war crime.
It would be. I don't have any confirmation of that. We have seen the reports. If that were true, it would potentially be a war crime. Obviously, there are a range of international fora that would assess that. So certainly we would look to that to be a part of that conversation.
We'll look into it. It would be a war crime. Then she said it would potentially be a war crime, and we'll have to look into that while I go straighten my orange hair.
Huh? Suddenly it reeks of hypocrisy in here.